I wanted to, you and I've talked a lot about Chaco Canyon and the development there. And we really appreciate the delaying of the lease sale around Chaco that was scheduled for March. There are still too many questions around resource protection for the 5,000 acre plus documented cultural sites in the San Juan Basin. And I'm glad to hear that BLM and BIA are continuing to work together with the Park Service on a resource management plan amendment. And I urge you to consider a full suite of alternatives in this plan, including a no-action alternative. I also understand that the March lease sale will be on the block again in December, and I strongly urge you to not move ahead unless the plan amendment has been signed and there has been robust tribal consultation and input from stakeholders. But I'm also concerned about resource protection in the Permian Basin around Carlsbad Caverns National Park as well, where you have scheduled a lease sale, I believe, for September. I've heard that some of the potential parcels could impact the cavern systems or are located in other environmentally sensitive areas. I also understand that the Park Service has shared its concerns with BLM about the impacts to this cave and karst ecosystem from oil and gas drilling. Are you aware of these objections? Will you heed them and delay leasing around Carlsbad Caverns National Park until a full assessment can be done, as we have done around Chaco, to ensure that development will not jeopardize the national and natural treasure that Carlsbad is?
I've always agreed there are some places that oil and gas production is fine, and other places that are too sensitive. And the reason why we delayed others, if there is a legitimate reason based on science, on either cultural or scientific or impact, then we withdraw it. And so we're looking at it closely. And sometimes a park superintendent will relay a concern. We ask that that concern is based on science and studies. And if it's gut feeling, then just say it's gut feeling, and we'll investigate it and look at it. Usually a person that is out in the field day to day has a better feeling about local community because they live in the local community, about the environment because they live in the environment. So I value the field's opinion oftentimes, or science, more than I would consider it from our lovely people we have here. But unless you live out there, it's a different story.
In January, BLM issued new guidance about how to conduct oil and gas lease sales. This guidance makes public participation optional, allows only 10 days for the public to protest a lease sale, and directs agencies to avoid doing any new environmental review, just to name a few things. This takes away flexibility from the field staff to use their best judgment about where, when, and how to lease parcels. I understand under this new process, decisions on removing parcels from lease sales must now be made by the Deputy Secretary, not the local field or state director, as has been previously the case. All of this is in contrast to the previous memorandum, which encouraged BLM to solicit robust public input from before leasing and provide ample time for public review. These public engagement opportunities are essential for leasing to be successful and for the government not to end up in a cycle of lease sale delays and litigation. Secretary Zinke, why has your administration taken these steps to limit the public process for oil and gas leasing? Doesn't the public have a right to comment on the development of their public lands? Will you commit to allowing for broader public comment and returning to a minimum of 30 days of public comment or draft lease sales, or 30 days to lodge protests?
I will work with you on this issue because I think the public does have a say and a voice. It's their land, after all. Yep. So public land deserves
That's our point
review.
Here.
Yep, and I'll work with you on it. The state managers and the state BLM directors have an enormous amount of say. And some of it was consistency. Some of it was, quite frankly, we're behind in 300, 400, 500 days sometimes in workload to get a permit out. And this body has been critical of that. So we're trying to be more efficient. But I agree with you that the public has a say and should.